So?
Well, wouldn't that be a conspiracy?
Yes. Didn't we say at the top of the show? Didn't we say at the top of the show that conspiracies do exist and have occurred?
So then what we're talking about is a difference of opinion on which ones have or haven't occurred. But
yeah, we're talking about a difference of opinion of whether or not there's any evidence to back up the crazy stuff that you're saying.
Right. I mean,
whether or not it's reasonable that every newspaper would not report on this.
The line of argument you're making here is that conspiracies have happened in the past, therefore this is a conspiracy.
No. I didn't. First of all, honestly, I'm sorry. I did miss the beginning of the show where you said that. But no, it sounds to me like you're suggesting that it's preposterous. To say that the government, would do something like that. It's, I guess, paranoid or whatever.
It is.
I'm not necessarily suggesting that it's preposterous that there exist some people in government who might be insane enough to try it. I'm suggesting that it's preposterous to think that they actually pulled it off so confidently that nobody from the inside ever leaked. Even the people who were directly responsible for 3,000 deaths, all the news media.
That's not even what I'm saying is preposterous.
Yeah.
The time to believe any claim at all, whether we're talking about a conspiracy theory or a God theory or anything, is when there's actual evidence to support it. If in fact there was evidence to support a reasonable belief in these 9/11 inside job conspiracies, it would be front page news. Everybody would know about it. There would be no discussion, no debate. If it was something that was reasonably supported by evidence, we would know. That's what I'm saying is preposterous. That, if you just read this book or watch this film or visit this website that explains it so much more coherently. No. The fact that somebody has explained it in such a way that you'll buy into it doesn't mean that it's supported by reasoned evidence. The fact of the matter is that while there were mistakes in the investigation, while the story is incomplete, that incompleteness doesn't support the conspiracy theories. And there have been countless, it's not countless because you can actually count them, a number of peer-reviewed scientific investigations into the events of 9/11, and the science holds up to the official story. I don't know why people call it the official story, the government story, whatever. It would involve a conspiracy of scientists and other individuals. That's just, it's beyond comprehension.
Right. Of course, every single scientist is also in on the conspiracy, because otherwise some scientist might have wanted to make a name for himself by publishing something peer-reviewed that said the opposite.
And all of these various claims by the conspiracy theorists about, look at the buildings, they're falling at an almost free fall speed. No, stop. That's just wrong. Well, World Trade Center 7, how about how it fell down? What?
That's not wrong. It doesn't.
It is wrong.
Prove that there is dynamite in them.
No. It is wrong. The laws of physics dictate how those buildings will fall, and guess what? All the video evidence demonstrates that they fell according to the laws of physics. They didn't break any rules.
No one suggested they broke laws of physics when they fell.
Yes, they did. Well, they're saying there's two different models for how those buildings could collapse. One is a gravity-assisted collapse as a result of a natural burning fire and the damage done by it, and the other one is the controlled demolition model. And the conspiracy
where they blew up several floors simultaneously, right? Which, of course, nobody noticed that amount of charges being placed around the buildings, even though it's like the biggest honkin' office building that has thousands of people coming into work there every day. And not one person said, hey, there weren't any bomb-sniffing dogs.
That's not true either, actually. It's documented they pulled bomb-sniffing dogs off the detail a week prior to, and there are several people who said that
so
they
it only
had shut
took them
down.
a week.
Pardon?
It only took them a week total.
No, I didn't say that. I said there are people who said that they they shut down certain floors, at certain times. In addition to which, there are hundreds of people claiming they heard bombs going off on the day of 9/11. The lobby was blown out, and everybody says that, the plane...
I heard a gunshot the other day. I heard a gunshot the other day. Turned out it was a car backfire. Of course you're going to hear explosions when shit's on fire and falling apart and crashing.
That's the answer. That's the standard answer. But if you see the people being interviewed, we've heard explosions going off all over the place. If something blows up, that's not the same as a fire. But anyway.
Yeah, and you know what? The testimony of somebody who's got a building coming down around him is a lot less reliable than an outside
way before the buildings began to collapse. No, I'm talking about, you know, like, I don't know, maybe 30 minutes or so before the buildings collapsed. Yes, they heard stuff and the buildings were coming down as well.
30 minutes before those buildings collapsed, those people were nice and calm and good observers? Are you kidding me?
After the building had been on fire
and you're there,
you're in a burning building.
You're upset. You're not going to think, well, maybe that was just my imagination. You know.
No, it's not a matter of imagination. It's a matter of interpreting events in the chaos while the building's burning around you.
Right. There's too much chaos for people to know whether or not they.
Great. So we agree that the testimony of people who said they heard bombs could easily just have been natural explosions and noises that occur in an environment where they've never been before, where the world is collapsing around them.
Firefighters inside, I mean, I don't know, I imagine the firefighters know something about, I mean, they battle high-rise fires, you know, in New York or whatever.
Yeah.
But, you know, I mean, their testimony is not, you know.
Is not what? It's not supporting the conspiracy theory, that's
no,
for
it's
sure.
not. Well, basically, if you keep saying that all the scientists say, you know, agree and all this.
No, I didn't say all the scientists, because you can always find a scientist who'll stand up for something or have some crackpot belief. I said peer-reviewed scientific papers, and that's what counts. That's what matters.
What is the compelling case against Osama bin Laden? The FBI says they don't really have. They promised that they would prove it with him.
What the hell does Osama have to do with this?
With 9/11? According to he's the guy who masterminded it.
I understand that.
Right?
You're moving from one conspiracy to another, and I think
no, I'm not moving from one conspiracy to another. It's all related. I'm simply saying that.
I understand that. My point is, how long should this conversation go on?
Oh, listen, I know you guys got to move on. If y'all, I guess I should let y'all. I mean, obviously, we're not gonna.
Yeah, obviously, we're not going to complete a sentence.
Thanks for taking my call.
Thanks, Jules.
Okay.
You know,
I said early on that we weren't going to make this a show about that, but I guess I was naive. Yeah,
it had to be.
That's really what this was about. I mean, come on.
The thing is that, you know, and I'll go to task with people who call in and people who email, and I've had people write in and say, hey, look, I'm an atheist. Oh God, am I so sick of people trying to disarm me in their emails by saying, oh, I'm an atheist, as if I'm going to put, you know, more credence in what you say. I'm an atheist. I'm a rational person, but I happen to have read this and seen this website and looked at this evidence, and I've come to a different conclusion from you, and I think that you should be open-minded and consider all of this because there really was a conspiracy. You know.
Right. I seem to remember Bob Carroll of the Skeptics Dictionary wrote somewhere that people absolutely love the Skeptics Dictionary until they come across the article that dismisses their favorite pet theory.
Right. But I mean, sending me an email, if you disagree...
By the way, there is a Skeptics Dictionary article relating to 9/11, or actually one relating to reptoids, and then there's another one that talks a bit about 9/11 at skeptic.com.
Yeah, with regard to the Osama question, I don't need to get into that because I don't really consider that to be a conspiracy at all. If the guy's willing to take credit for organizing stuff and put out videotapes about how much he hates the United States and is glad that what he orchestrated has come to pass, whatever. I mean, if you think there's some that they set him up as a patsy, he's playing the role really well. But you know, if you happen to disagree, great, fine. I'm fine with having discussions as long as you're actually going to present evidence to back up your claim, whatever it is. I've changed my mind on a number of times on a number of things, and it's all been based on evidence. You don't have to write in and start your email with, I'm an atheist and a rational person. That's not going to earn you any extra authority points in my book. It's almost
one of the reasons is I never believe what people say about their own state of mind, because I don't think they should bother telling me about it. Just write something.
Well, to me, it's like the second worst thing you could write. The worst thing you could write to me is, I used to be an atheist.
Oh.
God, I hate that. I used to be an atheist. Hey, you know what? Cool. I used to be a Christian. So what? Let's go on to the next bit. When you demonstrate that you used to be a skeptic and now you're a believer, all you're saying is that you stopped being a skeptic, which isn't going to earn you any more points in my book. because you have to continue being a skeptic and be a believer, and then demonstrate the evidence for why not only you believe, but why you think I should believe as well. If your reason is, well, you just got to have faith, or God revealed himself to me
in a waterfall that split 3 ways.
Congratulations, that's esoteric information and does me absolutely no good. And it's silly of you to even try and present that as an argument to anybody.
This is another thing that's very similar to conspiracy theories, is there are all these people who used to be atheists just like me, and then they became Christians. How come they don't know how unconvincing their arguments are? How come not a single one of them has looked at their own arguments
and discovered the logical fallacies that are apparent to everybody else inside of 10 seconds.
And said, like, hey, the first cause argument used to sound dumb to me, so why am I accepting it now? And why am I expecting this guy to accept it when I wouldn't have accepted it when I was an atheist?
Yeah, I'd say that, on the one hand, we define atheism as a lack of belief. But oftentimes what we're really talking about, and perhaps we need more labels or better labels, we're talking about intellectual atheism, not just you used to not believe and you used to be critical in your speech about religion, and now you believe and you're religious. Being critical in your speech is not the same thing as being a critical thinker. And being able to analyze claims, as Russell pointed out, saying the first cause argument, was absurd before, but now it makes sense. Okay, great. I fully accept that may be the case with somebody. Please provide the reason why the first cause argument is now all of a sudden valid. How did you get around the logical flaws? Have you developed a new argument that doesn't have these logical flaws?
Right, because I think if I ever become a believer, and it's for good, sound reasons, then I will know exactly how you think. And try to come up with an argument that doesn't rely on all the same stuff that I currently think is dumb.
And I can almost guarantee you, without reservation, knowing Russell and I are friends in addition to the show, that if either one of us ever became a believer,
right,
and were convinced that we had done so for rational reasons, and came to the other person, that second discussion would either convince the other person that I was right and they would be a believer too, or he'd be, no, buddy, you made a critical error right here, and I'd go back to being a non-believer, and that would be the case. There would be no, well, I just don't see it the way you see it, and I think we'll have to agree to a disagree, and you go on and be a believer for what you think are rational reasons and all. Yeah, it
right.
wouldn't
Now,
that way.
I mean, it does happen that somebody becomes a believer for what ultimately come down to personal, non-repeatable reasons.
Right.
Like in the movie Contact, where she says, okay, I had an experience with the aliens, but it didn't get recorded, and I can't prove that it really happened to me, but I'm going to go ahead and believe. She realizes anyway, in the end, no, I can't convince these people of anything, and, there's no reason that they have to believe. But she, is honest about what happened and recognizes that her lack of evidence isn't going to help her with anyone else.
Yeah, if for example one of the gods exists, let's just say Aphrodite, because I might as well go with one I'd like, and they appear to be in my room and demonstrate that they are really real. This isn't anything that I could possibly...
By performing acts that no human could possibly do.
I picked her for a reason.
Yeah.
But obviously, this would be completely personalized, esoteric information. I couldn't demonstrate it to anybody else. And I would submit that for those of you who are out there making claims like that God is real because you felt him or he's demonstrated himself in your life, to the point where you are certain that there's really a God and he's really done this demonstration for you, then the God you believe in is evil and cruel. That he would offer you evidence that's not available to other people and then punish them in whatever afterlife there is because he didn't provide them with the same justifiable reasons that he provided you. What a cruel, vicious monster that is, to just toy with people. Hey, I'm going to give this one evidence that's personal but incontrovertible. And this one over here I'm just going to leave without any evidence at all.